Hello out there, wherever you are. Now, I had big plans for this month. I wanted to go to a lot of the haunted house things around the area, and I didn't really get to that. Life tends to get in the way. But what I did do is catch up on a lot of TV, and I came across something that many people have come across now, and that is on Netflix. It's The Haunting of Hill House. Now, I'll be honest, when they first announced this, it was getting kind of good play, some good, reviews, things like that. But I kind of wrote it off. I wrote it off as like a Conjuring, House on Haunted Hill, The Haunting, many of these are types of things that are good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. But The Haunting of Hill House did not end up entirely how I expected. In fact, it was something completely different altogether. So, if you have not watched The Haunting of Hill House, we are going to get into some spoilers here. So, save this, shut it off, and come back when you've watched all 10 hours of this, which I actually did over the course of this weekend. Started it Saturday at 10 p.m. and finished it Sunday at 9 p.m. and that's 10 hours. So I rolled through it. It was my entire weekend. But yeah, let's dive in. So if you have watched The Haunting of Hill House, let's dig a little bit deeper into some of the things that maybe confused me, that were really cool. And yeah, let's go. Okay, so The Haunting of Hill House is not exactly what I described in a little, like the House on Haunted Hill, like the Conjuring, like those other things. There's a lot more to it. In fact, not really having anything to do with anything scary or haunted or anything like that. It actually has a lot of heart. The characters are really good. They're characters you actually care about, which generally, in scary movies like that, everybody's kind of set up for like a cannon fodder type thing, where they're basically just people that are lined up to die or be killed in some way, and kind of the main character might be something good, but that's generally the extent of it. But with all these characters' flaws, and there are plenty of them, you kind of cared about all of these characters, which is surprisingly good from a show that is just debuting. The nearest show that it kind of reminded me of was 6 Feet Under. I don't know if anybody ever watched 6 Feet Under, and it doesn't only have to do with the fact that one of the characters owned a funeral home, but 6 Feet Under had kind of similar things. It was flawed characters, telling a compelling story, great acting, which The Haunting of Hill House, the acting is top-notch. I mean, high-level acting is really good. But 6 Feet Under kind of had that same vibe. People talking to ghosts in a sense, whether they were in their own head or whether it was something else that they were talking to. Didn't really have the scary element. But the closest thing, a lot of people said it was like This Is Us, but with ghosts. I didn't really watch This Is Us, but I know the gist of it. And I watched the whole run of 6 Feet Under. Definitely has a 6 Feet Under vibe. Let me know if you agree with that. Leave a comment below if you did watch 6 Feet Under, and if you got a 6 Feet Under vibe from The Haunting of Hill House. So, now, one other interesting aspect that I didn't really take out of the show is that it made me feel better. Not saying that my family's, as messed up as the Crane family is, but because of how badly the Crane family's messed up, didn't it kind of make you feel better about your family and all the weird, odd characters in your family of people that you think are, oh, this person, that person? They're not nearly on the same level of messed up as the people in the Crane family. So it was, in that sense, you're like, wow, this family's so messed up that I actually feel better as a result of it, which is similar vibe from a 6 Feet Under. So I did have an interesting, not really a theory, but like a take on that, and really it was about Nell and the bent neck lady. So it was a cool shot when they you know, when she had hung herself and she kind of was like dropping through the floor to the various scenes. But did that seal her fate from the jump? Like, she was always resigned to being the bent neck lady. Like, there was no way around that. Like, it seemed like the bent neck lady would only appear, not necessarily as a child, but more later on as she got further and further into a, you know, spiral with the loss of her husband. But was she always meant to be that? Like, say your husband didn't have the aneurysm, or whether, you know, because the thing is that the house was there to, you know, kill those people and basically make them part of the house like the other spirits are. So was her husband dying the event that led her to the house? I mean, I'm sure it was part of it, of what led her to that. But say her husband didn't die, or are we saying the house is directly involved in her husband's death? That's something I always found interesting. Like, was she always, from the time she was that young, and the first time she saw the bent neck lady? And keep in mind that they took this, so did the house decide that she was always supposed to be this person? And if the house decided, when did they decide that she was always going to be this person? Or was it something that was, you know, almost like retroactively going back in time, that this thing haunted her as her former self after she had died? But that would, you know, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here. But what are your thoughts on the bent neck lady? Like, was it always supposed to be Nell's fate from the jump that she was going to be the bent neck lady, or did a series of events cause that to occur? That's kind of fascinating to me. Here's another thing. Did the ghosts kill anyone in the house? Did they kill any of the people? You know, maybe in different stories they did, but even when the mother was on the edge and she was ready to jump off, and you know, the ghost kind of like got real close, didn't push her though. Like, she ended up jumping herself or falling or however that goes, but never really killed her. I'd say the closest that they got to killing someone was Luke, in the sense that they, you know, he poisoned himself with rat poison. But am I forgetting something? I mean, I just watched it, but none of the other people that died in the house were a result of the house itself killing them, or something in that house attempting to kill them. Now, slowly driving them mad to the point where they wanted to kill themselves, you know, you could say the house was affecting that, but there were times when the house, or at least, you know, certain visions and certain things, caused people to hurt themselves. But did a ghost deliberately attempt to kill someone in the house? I don't think that really occurred. At least not that, you know, kind of everybody, even Luke in the sense, had a choice where he was, you know, in the teacup room and the young Nell was telling him to go. So he had like a choice, and even the father had a choice as well. And my apologies, you know, character names is not my strong suit. So I'm not really good with character names. But the father had a choice as well, where he could have, you know, he basically said that he was going to stay with the wife if he let the kids go. And that's really where he died. It's interesting, though, that Stephen and Luke, even though Luke was completely out of it when they were dragging him out of the house, did notice his dead body when they tried to go down the alternate staircase but into the library. There's a shot where they both turn the corner and then they look at something for a second and then they stop. I actually didn't catch that on the first run. I was actually talking about it with a coworker, and we both came to the realization that that occurred. But I'm sure people have kind of gone over this with a, you know, back and forth and watched it multiple times. This is just on a one-time viewing, but I think that is when the husband died, you know, before he took the heart pill, you know, as he was knocked over by that force or that thing. When he was given that choice to the wife, I think that's what did it. But yeah, I mean, it's an incredible show. It was really good. Season 2, do you think a season 2 probably wouldn't, even though I will miss them because of how good they were, but you know, I'll miss the Crane family, but don't you think if they do a season 2, and I think they're going to, given all the positivity and the praise and I just think it's getting a nice bit of viewership on Netflix. But don't you think season 2 should explore more of the ghosts in the house, and not necessarily the Crane family? It'd be cool if they came back for like an episode or something. But I think they've told the story of the Crane family, and as well as with the caretakers of the house as well. I think they told their whole story. And with the caretakers, speaking of the caretakers, when did anyone catch that the girl that was in the woods was actually their daughter? And that's generally always like a movie and TV trope. I think they use it in American Horror Story and a few other things. There's always like, you know, The Others and a whole bunch of movies like that. They always have this like random girl or random person that lives in the woods. But I didn't even catch till even after she drank the poison, and I'm not incredibly observant, that was the daughter, until I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, why is a ghost, you know, reacting to poison? Like, that would be bizarre, because they're, oh, yeah. So I didn't catch that because I'm not, like I said, incredibly observant, but they seem to take that very well. They seem to take... I mean, the fact that their daughter appeared in ghost form and they had already lost a child, they seem to take their neighbor, the people that they're employed by, his wife killing their daughter, surprisingly well. I mean, they were devastated, of course, but I mean, they kind of like, well, you know, she's here in ghost form, so we're okay. Just don't get rid of the house. So, you know, that was I mean, not everything about it was flawless, but great performances throughout. I thought it was pretty good. Let me know your thoughts. What are the things about The Haunting of Hill House? And I just kind of scratched the surface. It was kind of to start a discussion, and just a quick like recap, and a quick, not even really a recap, but more like a just kind of the burning questions, the things that I observed. Did you notice any of the ghosts that were in the various wide shots? Apparently there were many scenes of basically any wide shot when they were kids, of a ghost basically sitting in the background, standing in a doorway, standing in a window pane. I only noticed a few of them. There were a ton. Like I said, I'm not incredibly observant, but let me know your thoughts. The Haunting of Hill House. It was an incredible watch. I enjoyed it. Definitely need to have a season 2. I'd watch more. It was that good. But that'll do it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe, and thanks for watching.